All right, folks, howdy. I'm Doctor McFarland, and I've been away in New York City for a week. Harrison Audio had an AES event, which is really just a bunch of gear, kind of like a NAMM show, but just for audio engineers type thing. So we're not trying to show off guitars and amps and pedals and drums and all the different stuff. It's more about, recording interfaces, consoles, digital mixers, headphones, speakers, plugins, DAW recording software, all the stuff. So that's the way that is. So, if you are not used to sitting or standing on your feet for 6 to 8 hours a day, then I wasn't in shape enough to do that. It was pretty bad. My feet were killing me most days. And then we walked around New York City, either going to dinner or whatever, and versus taking a taxi, which you can do, but taxis cost money. And it was just easier to walk 5 to 10 blocks wherever you were going versus, calling a taxi or an Uber or something like that. So lots of walking. By Friday, we had, my wife was able to go with me and the kids were with my parents, but we were able to pretty much check out of our hotel and do all the sightseeing stuff that we wanted to, within reason. And then we saw my friend Aaron Short of Aaron Short Music here on YouTube. He is a regular musician there in New York City, and he plays hotels and cafes and bars and does the whole acoustic vocal thing with a Voice Live Extreme or something. Whatever he uses for like his looping and his effects and all the stuff. So, so that was fun. We did walk around about 20,000 steps just on Friday alone. And it's insane because you're walking up, 10 to 15 blocks to get to this location. Then you're walking over to get over here and over here. And yeah, you could take the subway, but then you got to go underground and have to buy the ticket and all the stuff. So it's just, all right, let's just stay on our feet. Let's just walk everywhere and, see what New York City is all about. So pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. I'm glad, we didn't have the kids with us because there was no way they'd be able to walk all those steps in New York City on their own. And, that just was not happening. After about 30 minutes, our middle child would be like, oh, okay, I'm done. Daddy, just carry me. And then I'm left trying to carry this kid on my back or whatever around New York City. So that's just not happening. Some of the cool things I did see at the AES event, obviously Harrison and SSL had a booth where we were showing off the 32 Classic console. I was showing off Mixbus version 10 and the 500 series modules. And for those who don't know, the recording is really all about ins and outs, but it's really how you get in and out is how you capture the sound and then mix it and then export it, and then you can upload it to your streaming services or make a CD out of it or whatever you're doing. So Harrison has a huge 32 channel mixing board, and the first one in New York City has been installed at East Side Sound Studios. A guy named Lou and Frankie, not Rocky, Lou and Rocky own the studio, and they were able to get a 32 channel Harrison console in the studio in the control room, and we had a nice get together on a Wednesday night, and it looked amazing. It sounded amazing. The studio setup was really fun, and it was just cool hanging out in a real New York studio kind of deal. So that was neat. What else did I really see though? I went and talked to the RME. Excuse me. I went and talked to the RME guys. As I've used their interfaces a few times over the years, on and off. And the Hearback Technologies, which is a very great way to send audio out of your interface, and that syncs up with their Hearback Technologies, and then you can create your own headphone mixes for the artist or whoever you're working with in your studio. So that's kind of fun. I talked to the guys at Icon Pro Audio that makes really good products like DAW controllers and interfaces and stuff. I talked to a new guy I hadn't met yet. He's over at AES microphones, and they make very, very high-end ribbon microphones. And they look great. They sounded great. Slightly out of my price range for what I would want to spend on the kind of studio that I have. But very cool guys. And yeah. Sorry, I'm tired. So, if you have any questions at all about recording, about guitar stuff, about modeling, pedals, guitars, amps, please leave a comment in the chat and we can discuss together. Because I don't want to be sitting here for an hour and just talking to myself. So, the whole point of going live is to engage with you guys. If there's any questions that are just burning in your brain that you want answered about all things recording and guitar gear, then I will gladly help as much as I can. Right now I have a little Kiesel Delos, and I came back from the trip, and my my camera will not turn on. I don't know why it's not turning on. So I'm using the little webcam right here, the Logitech Brio. It's not the quality that I would prefer, but I mean it looks fine for live streaming and whatnot. Then I am plugged into a let me assign this to a foot switch here. I'm plugged into the Fender Toadmaster Pro, which I've been dialing in this week. And essentially how this works, do I even have this camera? No, the camera's not turned on. That's fine. Essentially, I am putting all these presets into a song because they have song mode. And then I'm just calling them all Mayhem. So yesterday I released the Bogner Ubershaw Mayhem preset. And just made a video on it, and very basic preset. It sounds great, but I'm collecting all these sounds in one general area for recording needs. So if I want to bring the Toadmaster Pro to a recording session, or somebody comes here and they need to plug into something like, hey, I want to play through a Fender Princeton. Okay, well there you go. You know, that kind of thing. This is the Bogner Ubershaw amplifier. And what I like about it is it just has a very nice thick sound to it. Okay. I can switch over to a Blues Junior amplifier. I know Blues Junior, right? But this model does sound really good. I can kick in some optical trim. Okay. I like the sound of that. Let me change the dwell a little bit. So I have filmed, what did I do? I think Sunday night I filmed probably 4 or 5 Toadmaster Pro videos. I will get those edited and uploaded so they'll be releasing one a week. Instead of just trying to release them as quick as I can. I'm trying to like kind of, you know, keep a consistent schedule for the rest of the year and see how that helps at all. And then, but I noticed that John Nathan Cordy, he literally uploads a video, like 2 videos a day. 2 videos a day. So I think he releases like one in the morning and then another like maybe in the afternoon or something. You know, I have a full-time job and a wife and kids. I mean, he also has a wife and kids, but you know, he doesn't really have a full-time job other than just YouTube and then playing shows and band, like wedding band type stuff. So I guess he's got plenty of time to make 2 videos a day, but I do not. I do not do that. And some YouTubers, they just upload 1 video a week just regardless. You know, it's kind of like your favorite TV show. Okay, you know, this show will be on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Don't miss it. And, you know, we'll be back next week for the same time, same everything, and you know, catch episode number 2 of your favorite show, whatever you choose to watch. So there's a lot of YouTubers that do that kind of upload schedule of just 1 a week, and that's all you get, and they're really successful. Some people do it at least 2 videos a week. But then you got John Nathan Cordy doing 2 videos a day. I mean, okay. If that's what he has time for, and he feels like it's beneficial to his channel, then, you know, that's great. Speaking of Kiesel, I was watching a clip of SNL with Ariana Grande doing her big monologue at the beginning of the show. And I noticed that guitar player behind her had a very similarly shaped guitar. So I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure that's a Kiesel guitar. So I went and looked her up. You know, I just typed in SNL guitar player. And then her name is Maddie Rice. And I guess she's played for Colbert and she's played for all kinds of people. But she's a New York-based musician, a working musician that does SNL. I'm sure she does other gigs. She's actually a really good singer as well. So I found a lot of clips on YouTube and I think Instagram as well. I need to follow her on Instagram. But yeah, it's just amazing how many talented people there are out there just making it happen. And New York City is not a cheap place to live. But, you know, if you're able to make a living in New York City playing music, then that's awesome. I think it's really cool. We got a few people watching, but nobody is asking questions in the comments. So literally, do not wait for me to stop talking. Just ask your question. Then I can stop talking about whatever I was going to talk about, and we can go from there. So, as a small transition, let me go ahead and discuss, all these things at AES that I saw, right? The bare bones basics of what you need to record is really nowadays is a computer. Yes, you could go out and buy a tape machine and even a cassette recorder tape machine if you want. Where do I have mine? I have my old Tascam Porta 2 Studio, Porta Studio 2, whatever it's called, somewhere. I don't see it. But just some kind of medium, right? Then you have to have a way to get your audio into that medium. So nowadays, that is done by something called an audio interface. A long time ago, back in the Les Paul slash 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up till now. The convention was you use a tape machine, either usually 24-track tape machine, then you bounce it down to a two-track machine, and you recorded all those inputs via some kind of console or a collection of mic pre's, with inputs and outputs, stuff like that. So nowadays you walk into Guitar Center, Sweetwater, Best Buy. I don't think Walmart really has audio interfaces, but maybe they do. But generally, most music stores are gonna have some kind of like basic recording package, to where as long as you have some kind of computer, whether that's Linux, Windows, or Mac, you can get an audio interface and a microphone and some headphones for probably, anywhere from $200 to $400 to $500, somewhere in that realm. And you're like, man, Nathan, I don't have a few $100s to spare. What can I do? It's like, well, there is the sound app on your phone if you want to just record basic demos on a phone or something. But at some point, you're going to want to multi-track or at least do overdubs. And that's why you would want to have an audio interface going into some kind of recording software, whether that's GarageBand, Logic, Studio One, Luna, which is now free to download, I think for Mac and Windows, not really for Linux yet. Reaper is very cheap. I'm a little biased on this one, but Harrison Mixbus is a really good DAW that I use every day for all my recording, mixing, and mastering needs. But with all that said, if you're going to record yourself, you kind of have to know how to use the software. And that means, how do I make a new track? How do I record on the track? How do I record onto that track? And once you do, how do I edit the track to maybe fix a mistake or move, copy and paste things around? And then you're building the track, one track at a time. And most of these recording, most of the digital audio workstations, they have built-in loops that you can play along with. So if you're trying to write a song and you're not sure like how fast of the tempo it needs to be or what kind of drum beat you want to play along with, you can just drag and drop a loop onto the timeline or the edit canvas, whatever you want to call it. And that gives you something to play along with at a consistent tempo. And then you can lay down your acoustic guitar, you can lay down a vocal, and, and there's a basic skeleton of a song that you can further add bass, keys, pianos, strings, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, banjo, mandolin, just whatever instrument that you want to add. And then if you're a singer, maybe you just want to lay down a one lead vocal track, and then you can start laying down background vocals, harmony vocals on the choruses, maybe, and then before you know it, you got a full-fledged song that you now need to mix. And mixing is just a matter of taking your faders. You can kind of see this. I have an Allen and Heath mixing board in front of me right here. And yeah, mixing is just a matter of taking all your faders and just balancing, making a good balance. So the drums are not louder than your bass, and the vocals aren't too quiet or too loud, and you're just balancing everything. Then you can worry about like left and right panning. You can add effects like delays or reverbs, stuff like that. So, and learning all that is not for the faint of heart. I mean, you definitely need to be disciplined and have a lot of patience because, walking into Guitar Center and plugging your audio interface up to your computer, plugging in a microphone, and expecting to have a Grammy winning or nominated or Grammy quality type song just right out of the bat, it's not going to happen overnight. You need to learn the craft of writing a good song, recording, and if that's not for you, then that's why you have people like me or thousands upon thousands of other audio engineers out there in the world that can, that already has a good studio set up, already know the ins and outs, know how to run a session so they can actually deal with humans in a studio environment and deal with all the emotions and the egos and the all the crazy stories I'm sure you've heard over the years of these crazy rock star musicians coming into the studio going, that's not how I wanted to do it. You better listen to me now, producer person guy. And, the engineer's like, hey, this guy's crazy. Get him out of here, kind of thing. So yes, that's why the vast majority of people who have a studio, that's why we charge money. Because, look, we've invested all this time and money into buying gear and learning the gear. So that way, when you come into a studio, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You just have to know how to play your guitar. You have to know how to sing, and let us audio engineers do the rest of the work in actually producing the song, capturing the tones, the sounds, the performance that is needed to therefore get a great mix, get a great master. And, if you do all those things correctly and with some patience, then you can make a full album. You can put it on DistroKid, SoundDrop, TuneCore, CD Baby. And these are all online distribution services that allow you to essentially upload all your music to the service, and then they'll distribute it to Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Deezer, all the different options there are for distributing music online these days. And then if you're really old school, then you could get some vinyl pressed, and that's a fun process as well. I would say if you are getting vinyl done, then you probably don't want to master the music yourself, because vinyl records, that medium is very special, and you need to deal with the low end of the music in a particular way, so that way it's not too heavy, and it's it just works for vinyl. Typically with CDs, you can master the music yourself, and it'll be fine on a CD. But usually for any kind of vinyl release, it's smart to have your songs mastered by someone who knows how to deal with vinyl in that way. I actually have a really good friend. He was on the live stream about a month ago. His name is Bruce Kasperzak, and he's a longtime friend from MTSU. We've been friends for years, and he's a great audio engineer, great mixer, great mastering person, and he can definitely help you master music for vinyl if that's what you want to do. Okay. Guys, I'm still not seeing any comments at all. If you like the channel, if you like the stream, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment over there. I know you're here. I see you right there on top. I know you're watching. But now I'm just talking to myself. I'm not talking to anybody. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking to somebody out there. This guitar is butter. I love it. This Kiesel has lithium pickups in it, which is just a brand of pickup or a model of pickup that they have. And it's very Stratty-esque. Which is really why I got it. Bring this down a little bit. I like having the stainless steel frets, the classic black finish, which is really cool. This does have a ebony fretboard on it and a very nice roasted maple neck. And it was relatively cheap. I found it on Reverb for about $1,200, and I thought it was like, wow, that's a really good deal. So you can't buy a Fender brand new for that much. And I kind of felt bad for the guy. I was like, dude, don't give your guitar away, but I'll buy it if that's what you want me to do. So Kiesel guitars can be expensive, but if you find one with the specs that you like, and you're willing to pay for, you're willing to wait for a good used price, you can find Kiesel guitars for, $1,200 to $2,000 all day long. Somewhere within that range. Especially $1,500 to $2,000. That's a good range for a Kiesel guitar. Especially everything that you're getting. High quality parts and craftsmanship and all the stuff. So, any questions about recording? Any questions at all? I currently have been, in the past 3 or 4 months, I've been reviewing, really been using the Antelope Audio Orion Synergy Core. It's a very long name. I don't know why it has to be a long name like that, but it's a very good interface. It has 12 built-in mic pre's. And then I have another ADAT expander for 8 additional mic pre's. And that is equaling, what does that equal, folks? That equals 20 XLR inputs in total, which is really a lot. I do have a recording session on November 9th with a band up in Kentucky. They're driving down here to the studio, and I'm not quite sure how I want to do it just yet. I might use the rack setup. I do have an Allen & Heath SQ5 that I really like using because of the flying faders. It's just so convenient. Let me break this down again. It's very convenient having the faders right in front of you. Instead of like, oh, I got to change something. So now you have to use your mouse and you got to like adjust things on your screen and all the stuff, which I don't really like. So, if you can get faders in front of you and actually move faders around to quickly adjust like reverb sends, like just for example, I can go here and be like, all right, I want to go and I want to add some effects. Check. Uh-oh. I want to add some effects. Let me make sure my effects returns are up, which they are. See what I'm doing here. Effect sends, aux 2. Well, I thought I was going to add some reverb real fast. But I'm not doing it. I don't know. Maybe you're hearing it on your end. I'm just not hearing it in my ears. That would be strange. If that was true, that would be strange. Yeah, my effects sends are up. My effects returns are up. I'm not hearing the reverb, though. That's not weird at all. All right. Anyway, not a big deal. So, yeah, choices. Let's talk more about recording. So, if you are a person... Hello, I'm up here, okay? I'm right here, guys. If you're a person that only records by yourself, I would say having an interface that... Let me move this a little bit closer. I would say having an interface that has at least 4 mic inputs. That's usually plenty for most people. Because most of the time you're recording a vocal, like through a microphone like this. You're recording one mono acoustic guitar, maybe a stereo acoustic guitar. So that requires 2 different microphones. And maybe you only have 2 mics. Maybe you have a condenser mic like this, and you might have... this is a shotgun mic, but this is also a condenser microphone, technically. Then there's dynamic microphones, which is like your SM58, your SM57s, your SM7Bs, stuff like that. I would say if you're recording a stereo something, it's nice to have 2 of the same kind of mic so they don't sound drastically different. Like having 2 different condenser microphones or 2 different dynamic microphones, for example. So, but with that, if you had 4 microphones, 2 condensers and 2 dynamics, with those 4 inputs, you could now record a basic drum kit. You could have a kick mic, a snare mic, and then 2 overheads. And you could either have those space pair, you can have them be XY pair. You could have them be a bloom line kind of thing going on, like a stereo thing overhead. You can do a Glenn Johns method, which is having a let me do it to your viewpoint here. You could have an overhead over here. Then you could have another side microphone equal distant from the snare, and that's called the Glenn Johns method. And it sounds really good on drums, like for a very natural drum sound. Especially if you have the drums in a really good sounding environment, like an actual studio, or maybe you have a living room with a very high ceiling, or maybe you have access to a garage, or even a detached garage. Putting the drums in some kind of environment that sounds good to you is really a good way to start. So 4 mic inputs with 4 different microphones, 2 condenser and 2 dynamic. Shoot, that's really all you need right there. And then if you're live streaming like I am, you probably just want 1 vocal mic. And then if you're doing like a Mahler or a keyboard or something, you might want to have that plugged in. So that's 3 inputs right there. And with the digital age that we're in now, I mean, you can easily play guitar through an amp-sim plug-in, or just play keyboard directly, like maybe with a MIDI controller. And that's one more thing that you could add to your very simple setup is some kind of MIDI controller keyboard, so you can control virtual instruments like pianos, strings, horns, all the stuff. So now that's all just recording by yourself. Once you start wanting to record a full band, I would say you need at least 16 mic pre options, mic pre inserts or inputs. Because drums, if you're miking a full drum kit with all the toms and the room mic and the stereo overheads and all the stuff, you're going to need at least 8 inputs for that, because you're going to need kick, snare, overhead left, overhead right, tom 1, tom 2. Wait, what am I doing here? That's 6. And then if you have like a hi-hat mic, wait, no, that's 7. Yeah. What am I doing? Kick, snare, overhead left, overhead right, tom 1, tom 2, hi-hat, and then a mono room sound. So that's 8 channels right there. If you want to add any more, then 9 and 10 might be a snare bottom and maybe like another kick, like a kick in and a kick out kind of thing. So that's 10. And then you could easily have like a stereo room sound, like a stereo room mic. So that's 12 right there. So you can easily fill up 12 microphones as long as you have that many mics and that many cables to do it with. You can go crazy recording drums. And then you got input 13 for your bass. You have a microphone on your electric guitar amp, a microphone on your acoustic guitar, and then another microphone for a singer. And that's 16 right there. So, that's all everyone playing together, right? But let's say you had another keyboard player and you had some more background singers and everybody else. Well, this is where you want to be selective, and you're going to want to maybe overdub those extra things after the fact. After you've already captured like the core, the song structure and the arrangement and the sounds and all that stuff. Because once you've recorded drums and bass and guitar, you can easily just overdub everything else. But then you don't really want to have to break down some of the drum mics just to free up those channels to record other things. So that's where, having at least 24 inputs in a full-fledged studio really comes in handy, because now you can actually leave things plugged in and not ruin your session because you have to unplug a bunch of stuff. And then you go use those channels for other things. And now you're like, oh crap, sorry guys, we got to overdub this drum thing one more time. And now you've just ruined all your gain staging and your microphone placement because you went and moved everything. And that's one of the struggles of recording real drums. And that's exactly why I have electronic drums that, regardless of where you're at, the drums will always sound the same, and you don't really have to worry about micing the drum kit and, worried about the room that it's in and all that. So electronic drums, that's really why my studio is digital. I'm in a detached garage, but I'm also on a cul-de-sac, and I don't want to make tons and tons of noise for the neighbors and all the stuff. So I do have a Roland piano. You can kind of see the edge of it right there. I have an F-note drum kit. I have plenty of guitar maulers, like a Toemaster Pro, a Helix, a Kemper, a Headrush. I do have a Blue Guitar Amp 1 over here that can go direct. I have a Quilter. What else do I have? I have the Quilter Aviator Cub, which has a nice direct output option. And, just ways to record silently but still get really good sounds. And with the drums, those come with good sounds built in, but they can also trigger Superior Drummer and Easy Drummer in my computer. So it is very convenient to have a digital studio. But that might not be the way that you want to work. So it just really depends on what your goals are and what you're doing. And if you're just a songwriter that needs to capture, your songs as you write them, then 2 to 4 inputs is plenty for you. But if your goal is to be a real engineer and actually work with other bands and other artists, then yes, you need to have a bigger track count or some kind of interface that has more inputs than just 4. And I would say easily, if you can get 24 inputs, that's great. If you can get 32 inputs, maybe like on a digital mixer or through some kind of like ADAT option, that's even better as well. The Antelope Orion Studio over here, it has 12 built-in mic pre's. Then if you add another ADAT extender, that's 20. And then if you add your second ADAT extender, that's actually 28 inputs. That's a good amount of inputs for a studio, especially one just like me that's, this is a 14 by 24 diameter, not diameter, but, just a size room. And that's a lot of inputs right there. So, and a lot of that is just for convenience, so you can leave things plugged in at all times and not have to do a lot of patching in and out and all that stuff. I really want to see some comments from people. I've been going for about 42 minutes. No comments at all. I don't know why. I mean, guys, I know you're not shy out there. And I started about a month and a half ago going live earlier in the afternoon instead of waiting till after the kids go to bed, because some people were like, oh, I missed the show or I missed the live stream because it was too late for me or something, right? So I was like, all right, well, I'll just go live earlier in the day, so hopefully there'll be more people awake and available to watch and participate. Leave a comment over there wherever the comment box is. Just leave it, and because I want to hear from you. So yeah, some of my short-term goals here. I'm technically borrowing this SQ5 from work because we just have it in the office for different options, testing options. But yeah, I'm really liking the TF series from Yamaha, and that is a very nice looking mixer, and the faders feel really good. You can get it in 16, 24, or 32 channel formats. And though the 32 channel is a little wider than my desk can really handle, I think right now, if I got the 32 channel Yamaha TF5 mixer, I would keep the sit stand legs as I have them right now, but I would build me a custom desk. Even though the one I'm using now is technically a custom desk, but I would prefer to have two 19-inch rack spaces on either side of the mixer. So the mixer would be in the center. I'd have my keyboard and my mouse right in front of that. I can still attach my, you can't really see this, but I have this thing. So I have a little slide out tray with my PreSonus Fader Port 16 that I use for my DAW controller, and it works really well for all that. So I'll still be able to utilize that underneath the desk, and then I can have some rack gear on either side, and that would give me some space to have a headrush kind of leaned up on the rack on the right or the left, and then the Tonemaster Pro on the other side. I do have a Helix floor, but I've been trying to sell it for months now, and no one's wanting to buy it. So if you're local to Nashville, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Nashville area, and you want to buy a Helix floor for a really good deal, I bought it from Sweetwater at the end of last year, 2023. And I mean, it's great. It's a platinum edition, so it's silver looking or platinum looking, and it works great. Sounds great. I just, it just kind of sits there because I use the Toemaster Pro a lot. I use the Headrush a lot. I do like the Kemper for the reverb and delay options, but I don't technically need it. So I'd be fine selling that one off and freeing up that cash so I can invest into a Yamaha mixer and some other stuff. So I would like to get the Universal Audio 610 mic pre, some kind of like tube option, like a tube mic pre kind of option. And then I would like to get some kind of Neve style mic pre, just to have that available. And then maybe some Harrison mic pre type stuff. So, because we do have the 500 series currently out. So I might get like an API lunchbox and have a pre EQ and compressor to have two different channel strips of Harrison kind of flavor. That would be kind of cool. And I can put that all in the rack. And yeah, so I have some nice mic pre's in the rack. Those would go line out into the TF mixer, into the Yamaha mixer. So I can still control everything with faders in front of me if I need to. And, have that nice efficient workflow with faders. But still record everything into the DAW. Digital audio workstation. And so yeah, but for the most part, for live streaming, I just got this one microphone here. I can use my shotgun mic if I want the mic to be out of the view or out of the frame. And this microphone right here, this is actually the Neumann U87 AI. So this is a $3,500 microphone that I am technically reviewing from Zounds.com. They sent it out for me to review. And what's interesting about this microphone is, it looks good, it sounds good, but I don't know if I would spend $3,500 just on one microphone. This kind of takes me back to the original beginner recording setup. It's like, look, all you really need is a computer. And if you're watching this live stream right now, more than likely you have at least a computer of some sort. You have a Windows machine, a Mac, Apple computer, maybe you have a Linux machine, just whatever you have, right? And as a total beginner, knowing nothing about recording, I would not drop $3,500 on a microphone like this. It's just not going to happen, okay? You're probably going to put anywhere from $500 to $1,000 into a good, fast, modern computer that can keep up with all the audio recording and the video editing and whatever you may want to do in your modern digital world. And then you're going to spend anywhere from $300 to $500 on an audio interface. You might spend another $100 to $200 on a microphone or two microphones, depending on what that is. You're going to get some headphones for about $100. And before you know it, you've already spent, $1,500 to $2,000, depending on, what recording package you're trying to put together and how cheap you want to be. And this is only for new prices, right? I'm not talking about like marketplace deals or pawn shop deals or reverb.com deals or whatever. Just everything. If you bought everything brand new, you could definitely, on the very, very cheap side, you can get a recording going for around $1,000, if I'm being honest. Okay. Once you start gaining some knowledge and some experience, and like, okay, I've kind of mastered this small setup right now. How can I start upgrading my studio? All right, well, if you only have dynamic microphones, then you probably want to spend a few $100s on a really good but inexpensive condenser mic. And you can get those from Rode or RODE. MXL makes some decent condenser microphones for relatively cheap. Audio Technica, Sennheiser. You can just go to zounds.com or sweetwire.com and just type in condenser mic and just see all the rows and rows and rows of options there. But honestly, the Audio Technica, like 2020, the 2030, the 2040s, the 4040s, whatever all those model names are, those are really good. A company called Icon Pro Audio, which I mentioned earlier in the stream, they came out with their own line of really good sounding U67, U87 style microphones for around that $400 to $500 range. Warm Audio makes basically clones or recreations of old microphones that are not expensive at all. I think the cheapest Warm Audio mic is maybe $300 to $400, and the highest one is around $1,000, somewhere in that range. Not the highest, but like a good middle of the road microphone. But once again, if you're just upgrading slowly, then buying one mic within that $200 to $300 range is a really good option. Until you can start training your ears to start hearing little differences and nuances in the sound. It's like, oh, this mic actually sounds too bright on my voice. I need to find a darker sounding microphone. But maybe you have a friend come in and they have a deep voice, and that bright mic sounds really good on their voice. So that's the thing about microphones is it's not just a blanket mic that's going to work for everybody out there. Like, you're going to have nasally sounding voices and deep voices and high pitched voices and very somber and moody voices, just whatever. Right. So, picking different microphones is, there's just so many of them out there, and I will gladly leave a list of things that I prefer down in the description of this live stream, so that way you can kind of peruse a little bit of like some different interface options, some different microphone options, maybe some recording bundles that some of these companies have put together. So that way you can just have a good idea of like, all right, I actually want to start recording a little bit myself, and what do I need to get? Nathan, like if you're asking me personally or something, I can definitely guide you down that path of what to get. So, or maybe you've already a seasoned veteran and you're just looking for some other recommendations on some different microphones or audio interfaces or whatever. So definitely drop me a comment down below. There is the chat box right there if you want to discuss any further. But we've been going for about 54 minutes. I'm trying to keep these live streams to an hour, so I'm not going like all night. But usually an hour is pretty good time for people to sit there and listen through something kind of like a podcast, especially if they have the speed at like 1.25 or 1.5 times speed. Let's finish off this thing with a little guitar playing. Necro Dogs. Yeah, no one's chatting, man. I don't know what it is. It's all good. Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, definitely after the stream is over, leave a comment down below and be like, hey, I'm looking for this kind of setup. What do you recommend? And I can send you some links. There will be affiliate links. I am a Zounds affiliate partner. I also have Sweetwater links and Amazon links. I don't have anything European yet. I don't have like any Toman links or anything, but I do prefer Zounds the most. They are very fast shipping, very friendly, have some very good financing options if you need to finance something. And yeah, stuff like that. So oh man, this guitar sounds good. I'm not sure if you were to ask me, hey, what's your favorite guitar style? I would honestly have to say the Strat. I think the Strat for me is the perfect guitar. Especially if you have the humbucker and the bridge, and then the two single coils. You can just get a very wide array of sounds, diverse number of sounds. So there's some clean tones. And kick in a little green box. Right? Maybe we switch the amp over to the Ubershaw. Alright, so that's a good rig. But then I did add a Soldano rig, or SLO 100 rig, to the Towmaster Pro here, and this is the Fender Blues Junior. Go to the neck pickup. Yeah, sounds really good. I can kick on the fat channel. Then I can kick on the green box for a little extra push. Okay, that all sounds good. I can also do a little tremolo, some optical tremolo, which is based on what a Fender amp would have. Yeah, this guitar sounds great. Then I kick it over to the actual SLO 100 amp. So there you go. Sounds good to me. And I have some other rigs in here that I will do some videos on and release those when I can. Oh, man. Yes, I'm here to talk regardless if anyone's listening or not. So, my favorite is the Jazzmaster, closely followed by the Jaguar. Also have a Tele and a Strat. I've never owned a Jazzmaster or a Jaguar, though I wouldn't mind trying them out. Well, I think the actual shape is not that important to me. It's just the sounds that you can get. So, 57 Tweed Deluxe and a 65 reissue Deluxe reverb and a Surfy Bear reverb tank. Oh yeah, yep. Go for that old school surf top sound. Lucky you to have it. Well, that's what you get when you're stupid enough to have a credit card and you buy things on reverb.com. So yeah. But it does sound good. Could get a little tremolo. See, right now on the Tonemaster Pro, I have the 63 spring reverb with the dwell all the way up, the tone kind of in the middle. I can turn the mix up a little bit if I want. So, and that does sound good. Let's see. All right, we've been going for about an hour, so that's good. Yeah, this is true. I do enjoy all the stuff I have. Might be too much stuff, but I enjoy it all. But yeah, I got this recording session coming up on November 9th, and I really want to get that Yamaha mixer in here. And if I can, I will draw up some plans for a desk and make a little, I should be able to make it to where, see how wide is this thing? I think my son took my tape measure. But anyway, I can make it wide enough to where I can still use the sit stand legs. And then essentially just make it 34 inches across for like the main section. And then the 19-inch rack can be slightly angled. So it's not just like straight, like three different pieces straight. It can be like a little angled. And then depending on how high I want the speakers to sit, I can have the height of the rack be angled up. And then those should be able to fit, right to the center section there. Where the legs fit underneath, and everything can just move up and down. If I want to stand and listen to stuff, I can just do it that way. And still have the TV right here without blocking the TV, which would be great. And so yeah, that way I could sit down, I could stand up, I can do whatever, and it would work pretty good. I do have a 19-inch rack case over to my right here with my current rack gear, but I could definitely see myself doing away with that and just having two 19-inch rack options, places on the left and right. And then the speakers can sit on top of that. So So that way everything just moves up and down together. So it is an option. I'll have to take some good measurements and just see what that would look like for me. So I can make it work though. I'm not a horrible woodworker, but it'll be fine. So, Necro Dogs says you're going to bed. So maybe you're over in England somewhere. I'm not sure. Or maybe you got to work second shift or something. I'm not sure either. But thanks guys for watching, and be sure to leave me your comments about what kind of recording setup options that you are interested in, and I'll be gladly provide my knowledge and experience and wisdom and affiliate links. So when you use those affiliate links and you buy something, I get some money from that, which goes to help support the channel. So 30 years worth of knowledge is worth something, right? I mean, come on. Maybe not. But anyway, y'all have a great rest of your day and week. And I'll probably be releasing another video on Friday. So be looking out for that. And be sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell. Give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you in the next video. Keep rocking.